Welcome to a Christmas video for today's offering. I think I've got a very traditional styled card in non-traditional colors to show you. The products that we'll be using today include the classic poinsettia dies from Spellbinders. There are several new sets from Just Right in their offering for this year's Christmas. I've got the Festive Poinsettia, the Christmas Vintage Labels 4, and the Heritage Christmas Ornaments, all from Just Right. They're beautiful, and they match the new Spellbinder Heirloom Ornament for 2013. Right, let's get started. And I'm going to show you a very unique technique with my interlocking circles background. It's one of the A4 folders in my new set of embossing folders. So we're going to take a plain piece of white card, and we're going to tape it into our folder, just making sure it's lined up straight. We're going to run it through the machine. Now for this, I'm going to be using the gray base plate and a paper shim in the center and the raspberry adapter plate as the top of the sandwich. We're going to pass it through the grand caliber once. And then I'm going to take it out and I'm going to show you what you can do with this one. It's great fun. Gently remove it, and I'm just going to peel this back. I'm going to show it to you first so you can see. We've got the interlocking circles. You can see the embossing on that. But what I want to do now is I want to double emboss it. So by using the see-through folder, I can line this up so that the pattern repeats in a different area. Let's see if I can get that lined up straight. That looks good for the demonstration. Now I'm going to tape that into place, gently fold it back down, and I'm going to run it through again. Same exact sandwich. Now by doing this, what will happen is the original embossing will flatten slightly, but you'll still be able to see it. And then the new embossing will show up as more prominent. And you'll end up with a background that is not only unique, but very interesting to your recipient. Can you see that? I've got two different looks there with the first embossing right in the center of the second embossing. It's absolutely gorgeous. Right, so let's go ahead and put this piece onto our background and then we'll move ahead. So I've already prepared a background piece with the piercing around the edge that I love to do. I'm going to just do a little bit of taping here. Just to make sure it's good and secure, I'm going to put 4 pieces around the edges. And center it into my white mat. There, that looks great. Oh, I tell you what, I've forgotten one thing. I wanted to put a little piece of ribbon on there, so I tell you, I'm just going to lift it up slightly and put that on. Right down the center there. We'll pop that into place. It's not too late. And what I love about that double-sided tape is it is a little bit forgiving, so you can do things like that. If I'd used glue, it might have been stuck down already. There. That'll work perfectly now. So set that aside, and the next thing I'm going to do is stamp the new poinsettia. Now, I love this set. It's brand new. It's from Just Right. It matches the poinsettia dies from Spellbinders, and it is gorgeous. Wait till you see this. I'm going to use my clear perfect medium. I'm going to ink it up, and because it's a clear stamp, I like to put a piece of U-mount foam or something cushy underneath what I'm stamping on. So I'm going to stamp it right here, give it a good push, make sure I get nice contact with all my tips on the flower there. Set that aside, and I'm going to do a little bit of embossing. So let's just put a piece of copy paper underneath us. And I'm going to be using the Cosmic Shimmer Silver Shine embossing powder for this. I have a little piece of tape there so it's sticky outside of my flower. Okay, and let me just put this back away so it doesn't get knocked over. All right, let's do some embossing now. Look at how gorgeous that's stamped. Really, really nice and easy. And you can see the powder turns from a real dull gray tone to that lovely shiny silver. Make sure you get all your tips. Beautiful. Now, what I want to show you with this stamp is, because the die is very, very close in size, you can't really see where it is. So the way to eliminate this problem so you don't cut it out crooked is you cut a mask. You can cut it out of just a leftover piece of card or even copy paper like I've done. So what you want to do is line it up and get some tape and tape it into place. And get that pattern exactly right. That looks pretty good. You could take a little more time when you're doing it at home, but tape it on there so it doesn't move around. I'm going to put one more on there. Okay, so you can see that that's showing my pattern through there. So now all I need to do is take my die and reseat it back into that cutout. So let's just give it a little wiggle. Because I've used copy paper, it's not got a really strong edge on it. So let me just make sure that feels really secure now. And I'm going to tape this one into place also. And you can reuse this mask over and over again. Okay, so now I'm going to get my cutting plate and my base plate. Put that over the top. And remember, this can go through your machine in any orientation as long as the cutting ridge from your die is into your cutting plate. Now I'm not going to emboss it because what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little shaping with it on my mat. The other thing with these dies is this poinsettia has got a beautifully detailed cut to it, but it's really fine in the center. So be very gentle when you're taking it apart. And what I usually do, let's remove our tape. So I'll pop it around and then just pop the tips out with a pokey tool and just very gently work it up from that point. Because you've got a really fine end of the stem there, actually. And make sure you loosen that all the way around. One more. There we go. There we go. Gorgeous. Oh, I've got a perfect cut on that. Isn't that beautiful? So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a foam mat. Let me set this aside. And a stylus, or you can get a anything that's got kind of a rounded into it. Even a spoon will work. And then I'm just going to take my poinsettia upside down, and I'm just going to rub a little bit on the leaves and kind of give it a little bit of form. It just gives your flower a slightly more realistic look. And you can even do a little bit of bending with your fingers. Oops. Just to give that shape to it. So I've cut one out ahead of time. I'm going to put them together. I'm going to use a little bit of Cosmic Shimmer glue on it. Just let that form up, and I'm going to put a pearl right on that one. So we'll put some glue on it also. Let me set that aside. And I'm going to get a flat back pearl from my collection here. And let's see, I'll use these little scissors and just pick this up. This is an 8mm pearl. We're just going to put that in the center of that one. And then what I'm going to do is offset this one. So you've got a lovely poinsettia. Let's just give that a second to set up. Okay, now I've gone ahead and cut out the ornament. I've stamped it in the same exact fashion. I've done a template and I've cut it out ahead of time. I did this so I'd have a little more time to show you how I'm going to tie the bow. So let's set that aside and we can start doing a bit of assembly. I've put some mounting foam on the back of this one. I'm going to seat that right in the center there. And let's just use a glue dot and we'll attach our poinsettia flower off to the side. Right in the middle there, I think that'll work. And I stamped the sentiment just a little bit off center so I'd have room there. We'll put that right like that. Ooh, so pretty. So it just kind of forms a little flower around your sentiment. Now, I'm using some of the frilly-edged ribbon, and this is the rose color, like a dusty rose. So I've pulled off a length of it, and I just fold it in half to start. I don't cut this end of it. This becomes a tail. So I'm going to leave about, I'd say about 3 inches roughly. Pinch it between my fingers. There's your first loop. Wrap it around. Take and just kind of use your finger to push it through. And grab it. There, now I've got it. Put my finger through both of them, and you can pull and hold the tails at the same time. And then it's just up to you to make it the length you want on your loops, and you can fiddle it back and forth, make it a little smaller, pull it tighter. It's your call on that. I'm going to cut the ends with some ribbon scissors. I fold it in half, cut it away from me at an angle. And then let's do this side. Fold that in half, cut it away. And then what I like to do is take the inside loop and just pull on it on both sides and make it a tiny bit shorter so it sits inside of there neatly. You just have to figure which one you need to pull to do that. And then you have a lovely bow for your creation. Isn't that gorgeous? So now I'm going to put it onto my creation with a glue dot, and I like to cover the center knots on bows. So for this one, I think what I'm going to do is use one of the pale pink dazzlers. This one's a round one. It's absolutely stunning. It matches that ribbon perfectly. And we're just going to put a glue dot on the back of that, seat it into the center of my bow. And we've finished the card. Now the only thing I haven't done on this one, I'll show you on the original, is I've taken all of these beautiful circle embossed areas and I've added 3mm flat back pearls to it. You can do that with your real pearls, or you can do that with the PVA glue, but it really adds a lot of interest to it. Well, I don't know about you, but I would love to receive this one as a Christmas gift. I hope you've enjoyed the video today.